All right, this next one is from Almost Unbelievable. That is their name that they are using. They also have a podcast and YouTube channel, so please go check them out. I will put the link um, to their Reddit in the description of this video, and I will find the link for their channel and put that the YouTube channel as well. I have not found the podcast yet, though honestly I have not looked for it yet because I am not on my podcast thing. I'm doing these videos, but I have seen the YouTube channel. I've checked out a couple of videos. Go over there and check them out yourself. But they also have their own paranormal experiences and were so kind enough to let me share them with you here today on What Do You Think? So let's get right into this one here. Mum vanished for 9 hours. Well, it seems you like to hear some of my own stories, so here it is another one for you. This subreddit was recommended for me to come over and tell you this. The year would have been either 1989 or 1990, and I would have been a young teenager. My mom always made a Sunday dinner without fail. It was one it was the one meal we could always rely on. Meat, roasties, veg, and plenty of it too. We loved our Sunday dinners. The rest of the week it was sugar or tomato ketchup bottles. So this Sunday was no different, except we needed some potatoes to make the roast potatoes with my mum. She said she would walk down onto the shop, which was no more than a 10-minute walk away. Yep, back then people walked. Ha! She left at 11 a.m., as we always had lunch at 1 p.m., or as close to that time. It was our thing. We expected her to return no later than 11:30. So anyway, time ticked on. 11:30 came and went. Then midday. At about this time, we were getting concerned and, well, a little impatient. We were all hungry and looking forward to our roasted potatoes. So where on earth was my mother with the damn food? But when 12:30 came and went, our bellies stopped rumbling and we started to get really anxious as to where she was. So I started to pace outside the house, looking down the road to see if she was coming, but she was nowhere in sight. Then I saw the number 6 bus. It stopped outside the shop and was just 2 stops away. I wonder if she had waited to get on it, and so watched as it neared, knowing if she was going to get off, if she would be stood at the front of it. Well, something was on the bus. It was a figure all dressed in black, from head to toe, and it was waving at me furiously. I don't know why, but I got the impression it was my mum, even though she was not wearing anything like that. So I kept looking at the person thing, and the bus passed right by me, and the person was locking eyes with me and still waving like a lunatic. The bus stop was about 100 meters further away, and I was just around the bend on our road. So I decided to leg it about 40 meters or so that I could see this thing get off the bus. But the bus never stopped. It carried on, and there was just one more stop it could go to, the terminus where it turns around and goes the route again. Luckily, the bus had to go around in like a square shape and back on itself to the terminus, so I decided to race it there. Back then, I was a pretty good athlete, and it took me about 50 seconds to get in eyesight of it. I made it to the terminus as the bus pulled in, but nobody got off the bus. I asked the driver where the woman was. Oh, I just lost it there. I asked the driver where the woman was dressed in all black. He said there was never a woman on the bus like that. I told him she was waving like a lunatic a couple of minutes ago, and he laughed and said I was dreaming as nobody had been on this bus since Layton, about 6 stops back. Confused and scared, I walked back home and told my dad and sister. They did not want to make of it either. They did not know what to make of it either. But one thing was certain, Mum was nowhere to be seen. We went to look for her, and she had vanished. Just vanished. I don't know why, but we never called the police. I think we just never thought about doing that. Nowadays you would, but back then it just didn't happen. So it got to 8 p.m. and the key slid in the door, and in walked my mum with the potatoes. Woot woot! We could not have our dinner. Ha! Only joking. We all went ballistic. Where have you been? Etc., etc. She looked dazed and confused and said that she had only been gone no more than 30 minutes. She didn't or couldn't understand any of it. The only thing she did recall was entering the shop and remember it being light outside. And when she left the shop, she recalled it being dark and thought that was a little strange, but she had no idea she had been missing for 9 hours. My mom, pre this event, had a job working in a mushroom picking place, and she had flunked school and didn't have any qualifications and never any real drive to better herself. But after this, in fact, the same year, she started to attend night school to get her GSEs. She got 6 of them, all of the highest grade. She then attended night school again and took on 4 A levels and got 4 straight A's. She then went on to university and completed 2 full honor degrees and the same in criminology and law, getting 2.1s in each. She then took on other courses. She got a job in the civil service and got promoted almost every single year until she was very high up. She basically had a thirst for knowledge, something she never had before this event. Something else just occurred to me. My mom had been married to her childhood sweetheart called Dave, but they broke up, got divorced, and mom found love with my dad. Right after this event, my mom started to hang out with Dave. And to cut a long story short, both my father and Dave were her lovers afterwards. It's like she went right back to Dave and they ended up remarrying again, even though she was still seeing my dad 50% of the time. In fact, they have 3 grave plots all next to one another. Mum is now buried in the center one, and Dave passed away about 10 years ago. Another thing is, in the past, my mother begged me on several occasions to do a show on my old YouTube live stream about extra dimensions and parallel worlds. I said I would, but I never got around to do it as I was losing interest in my show's topic and it really wouldn't have suited that format. So I gave my channel to someone else and started my new podcast on the paranormal, but just 2 weeks after starting it, and before we got a chance to talk about or bring in a guest about these topics, Mum passed away. But she was really adamant that I look into those. Maybe the woman who returned wasn't my mum from this dimension. So was this connected? Did something happen to her that made her behave like this afterwards? Where did she go for those 9 hours? Who was the black figure I saw waving at me on the bus? Anyone? Wow, that just has so many things going on with it. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Almost unbelievable. These videos are made for you folks. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Get the conversation started. I think we got a time slip here, or maybe an alternate dimension where she came back, and now you have the mum from that dimension, and your mom, the real one, is in the other dimension. So many things. And then who's the person on the bus or the figure waving? And why? How does that come into play? So many things to think about on this one, folks. Let me know what do you think in the comments below. Thank you.